I'll start by recapping that my theme is based around human connection to and interpretation of natural landscapes. When, how and why we've given stories and meaning to nature, which is scientifically speaking neutral. I began with examining areas thought to be spiritual, so took photos at a local stone circle and of some carvings that are thousands of years old. This is Three Kings. Historic England say the landscape setting of this monument is of great importance. Although it is situated in order to command extensive views, its position means that it is not easily visible from the valley below. I'd hoped that by visiting these places I could get a sense of why they'd been chosen as special. I wanted to explore technology that would bring a richness to the work, and at the same time began to wonder more about the appeal of nature having to do with a slower pace and a connection to the past, so traditional analogue photo methods might actually be a better fit. Initially, because of practical reasons, I decided to explore digital pinhole photography. Straight away, combining high and low tech raises questions about how much to intervene with the camera settings and post-production. I tend to find the less perfect but more autonomous images more interesting. A journal about iPhoneography mentioned Benjamin's concept of aura, and I wondered if that's what I feel the pinhole technique helps to bring. The same text described the camera club aesthetic, and I felt quite relieved to give that concept a name. I do worry about how to make photographs about landscapes in a world that's been led to think only certain technical standards are legitimate. Perhaps use of a different equipment offers an escape from that comparison. The guide states Castlereagh is often thought of as having the most beautiful setting of any stone circle in Britain. Located as it is on a low plateau above Keswick, it is surrounded, as in an amphitheatre, by the mountains. This particular view felt important. Having hardly changed in 12,000 years, it would have been seen by the builders of the circle. I think panoramic or perhaps moving images would better show the spectacle in scale. I should experiment with some different techniques. Rebecca Solnit writes in Wanderlust that the 18th century created the taste for nature, implying then that it's a learned cultural concept and not perhaps as primal as some people feel. The poems of William Wordsworth are regularly referred to and linked to these origins. From the Wordsworth Museum, I confirmed that he was a great believer in health benefits of nature. He felt that nature had an inherent morality, and he was instrumental in bringing tourists into the rural Lake District. This romantic view of nature is central to what I want to discuss because I don't feel it's particularly changed that much since Wordsworth's time. Long Meg and Her Daughters is a much larger stone circle bisected by an access road to the farm. These images were taken easily with a camera phone. I'm interested in exploring the effects of technology, sharing photos and being worried about recording events more than actually experiencing them. The idea of visiting several sites was to be able to compare and contrast the imagery, and I think that as the collection grows the set does get more interesting. I might continue this as an aside, but I don't feel at the minute that the stone circles are really conveying my main themes. In terms of the aesthetic, I do like the closer up view because it allows you to see the texture on the stones. It gives a better sense of the location in the background. I wasn't expecting to want humans in the shots, but I think as the project goes more towards people and their relationships with these areas, this might be a worthwhile direction to consider, possibly looking more at portraiture as well. Visually, these images do seem richer and there's more to look at. I quite like the subtle evidence of habitual use, such as the footprints and tracks. They move the focus towards people without it being explicit. It helps to present an idea about the longevity and volume of visitors. I think the effect of movement in the pinhole shot on the left links to the notion of passing time, and I quite like the lady taking her own photographs here. The blurry images and the really low viewpoint makes it look a bit voyeuristic and actually enlarges the size of the mountains behind. I visited the Henry Iden exhibition. He's used a 100-year-old camera to take photos of climbers and adventurers in the landscape. He highlights a contrast between new and old technology, so his project overlaps with my interests. It was a bit more of a straightforward reshoot than I expected, and as a result it lacked the depth and context that I would need my project to take on. This was one idea for generating ideas. The thread kept coming back to tourism, which led me to think of maps and guides and our tendency to categorise and quantify everything. This seemed apt in the light of the debates about science in the media lately, and especially in regards to nature and climate change. From science, I thought about evidence, and in the spirit of allowing for experiments that might fail, I looked for chances to take forensic type shots. To follow this up, you could treat forestry as a crime perhaps, or reshoot choosing more specific scientific topics like botany or zoology. I had wanted the photos to be more ridiculous so they would poke fun and be more funny to look at. I also looked at safety signs, but it seemed like a linear topic where there isn't much to comment on, except that they're a bit strange, a bit of a shame, but probably necessary. I do like the implication that nature has to be just man-made enough to be able to visit safely. Trying to define the phases that the project will take on is not coming easy. It does seem to have a need for an unfocused path, as was suggested. I wonder if it's worth trying to redefine the question that I'm looking to answer. At this point, I'm really struggling to see what a viable outcome would look like.